Hi all, welcome back, and let's start with next session here, that is creating an incense stick or creating an incense stick with smoke. Okay. So let's start from the base, like from creating a actual model of incense stick by using a cylinder. So through layer, let me reduce the radius of it. Okay, I'll just keep it this big. Yeah. Okay, I increase the height. Sorry, I don't need that many segments. We keep it to just with a value of 8 and subdivision heights to around, let's say, 30. Okay, let me bring it up. Right click vertex and just let me reduce the base here and increase it. I think that is good enough. Okay. Scale this a little up. Yeah, I'm happy. Let me take the pivot a little bit down at its base. Okay. Okay, now before actually going into dynamics, what I'll do is I'll give it a little bit of shading to make it look like more like a incense stick, because incense stick is much brighter here at the end where it's burning and it's glowing. So let's very quickly shade. Windows, renderer, shade. I'll give it a plain Lambert material. So I'll be creating a regular Lambert. I'll call this as stick. I'm sorry about S. My S in the keyboard shortcut isn't working. So yeah. Now to give it variations of textures over here is what I'll do is I'll use a ramp texture for this. So let me see where the ramp texture is, not the shader, the ramp texture. Select it and just connect it to the color. Okay, so once you connect it, I will need to assign it to the object. So let's assign it to the object. Click on 6 to see if you see any changes to this. Click on 6. Let's go to the rendering and let's see at the high quality rendering. There it is. Okay, so I see some variations. Let me check. So to manage this correctly, as I'm adjusting, bring this side. Okay, and maybe just probably I don't need this. Okay, I don't need this. So double clicking, I'll get the same attribute over here. So yes, let's check. So if I just drag this, you can see that it's working correctly. Okay, only thing is what I'll have to do is it's VRAM though, which is working as needed in the direction here, in the vertical direction. So if you click on U, it's going to work cross section. Remember, so if you in some way by default get this, remember to switch it to VRAM and in the vertical position. So instead in the interpolation, I'll change this to none. I'm sorry, just skip it. What it is running for, we'll just shift it. Yeah, okay. The color what I'll be using is a little pink in there. Okay, which is what is in our region for the base. Okay, the next color will be a gray, a dark gray color for the actual stick. And what I'll do is just drag one more and use and bright orange for the color here. Now remember, if you take a look, I do have a bright orange, but it's not working same as of that of the ramp. Okay, you see kind of a little difference in there. Now the reason behind that is because if you go to the modeling menu, UV and UV editor, you will check the UV editor. That is how the ramp is working. So basically this is I need to push the widget down till here because you have so much space. So I'm going to correct this. So we select, right click, select shell, and there you see the shader, how it's working. So also select this, select shell, moves down, just scale this to the size, the proportional size of the incense stick. Okay, and of course these are these basically are the region here, the top and the bottom. Okay, those are those regions. So if you see, the proportions of that is to use compared to the actual size of the stick. So just scale it and move it in place here. So kind of connects with it. Do the same thing for this. And like push it down. Anyways, we will not be able to see the base at the top. Okay, now this is correct. Let's do the proportion. Let's adjust the size. Let me close this window. Bring it here. Let's adjust the size of the ramp. So maybe and I'm sorry, let's push this a little bit more below. Okay, so I am like happy. Okay, so once the shading part is done, let me now concentrate on the smoke part. And what will I be using for this? Let me go to the effects menu and particles. I'll use the standard emitter, not the, remember, not the end particles one. Okay, so I'll use the legacy particle emitter here. Go to the option box and choose Omni, or in fact just reset the setting and just say create. Okay, let me bring the emitter on the side and kind of place it correctly from both the views. Yeah, now right now if I just play this is Omni kind of particles which are spreading. So if I just say Alt V, you will see that those are Omni kind of particle. साई, आवाज कौन करता है? So let me make it directional. 0 and 1 in y direction. Late particles are moving up. And let me, in the particle shape parameter, choose this to sprites. Okay, current render type on. Change the size of this to, let's say, oh, in any ways we'll be changing the size of this later. Okay, because I need to gradually like make them start narrow and then gradually flare up. Okay, so yes, select it. I'm sorry, select it, and I want it to now have a nice smoke like texture. So for this I will be creating a map for both color as well as transparency for it. I don't want it to look like a solid rectangle there. I want it to look like a soft edge smoke. Okay, which is a very cheap smoke here inside Maya. Doesn't take a lot of CPU power. It's good. Sprites is something which is always will be facing at camera, so it will always look 3D. So just basically a plane on which we will be applying a texture to, and let's create that texture. So what is the best software than our good old Photoshop? Let's go to the Photoshop, say file, new, 256, good enough. We don't need a huge resolution here. Okay, in the color I'll see that's gray. In the opacity I want it to be 50%, that's it, and just click on like kind of start painting. Good enough. Okay, so file, save it as PNG. A couple of old maps there here. Okay, I don't want this, so just delete these. Okay, and create a new one, and mind you it's PNG, so we need a transparency there. Just save it, replace it. Okay, whatever, fine. Okay. So now I need to apply the texture which we just created onto the smoke. Okay, so for that I will be creating another Lambert material. Right, that is okay. I'll call this as smoke, and once again sorry about that. So just select it, apply it. I hope it's applied. Let me check. No, yeah, now I will right click and assign material to viewport selection. You can drag and drop it on, doesn't make no problem at all. And in the color I'll choose the texture which we just created. I think it's the PNG file. I suppose it's the PNG file. Yeah, I think it's this. So let's open. Okay, 4, 5 and 6 to see the texture. There we see the texture. Fine, now I need to have an original color of it. So what I'll do is I'll need to add color and just say add per object color. Right now it's dark gray, so let's give it its original color. There it is. Say Alt B to like switch back to position here. Okay, fine. So I'm happy. Let me play this. I see the smoke moving in upward direction very slowly. No problem with that. Now I could go and adjust the size of it as well as the speed of it. So sorry, when my mouse is moving on. Windows outliner. Select the particle systems, Control A into the emitter, sorry, Control A, and increase speed a bit, maybe to, let's say 3. See the speed, it's moving up. Sorry, 3. Yeah, I'm happy. Okay, now to control the size of it, I need a gradually tapering smoke. Okay, so I will jump to the particle shape and then into the shape, particle shape attribute, go to the general attribute, choose, I think you need to choose scale XP and YP for the scale size of the sprite, okay, for both in the both the axes. So I'll just say on, and let me check what happens here. I don't have anything because right now the values are 0, so I'll just right click and just say create ramp on both the sides. And if you want to take a look how the lamp looks, is this way. So let me play this, let's see what is happening. Okay, let's play this. Yeah, you see it's tapering starting from white which is the largest radius, and it's tapering down to black, which is the lowest radius. So I need this to be exactly opposite here. I don't need this, and I'm going to do the same thing on the X radius. So black will be here, white will be on the other side, and if I check it now, you'll see exactly the opposite is happening. Okay, I don't want to go it from a value of 0 to 1. What I would do is just slightly increase this to gray. Okay, it is on both the sides, so I just go to edit RAM. I'm sorry, my mouse is jumping all around. I'm very sorry for that. So edit ramp, make this a little gray. Let's check this. Yeah, I'm happy. Okay, probably I'll also change this to a little dark, maybe a little dark, something like this. Yes, change this to a little dark. I don't want it to be so wide. Good enough. Now what is happening is, you can see that it has stopped there. That's because when you applied sprite scale X in YPP, what it did in the shape attribute of ours, that you can see it made it constant. So I'll have to make it random range, specify, let's say a value like, say, 5, a value like 5, and a value like, let's say, maybe 4 and 5. Okay, so let's see now. There it is. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I can make it a little softer by going into the particle shape. And going into the opacity, add for object. I will also get the opacity here. So as I reduce the value, you can see it's nicely fading off to give us this. Okay. I'm not quite happy with smoke. I want it to like start from here, and also go back to the shape attribute, that is the edit parameter, slightly increase it. It doesn't matter if it is a little, even if it is a little parallel. Just slightly increasing that value so that it kind of matches with the I'm happy. Now what I'll do is, I will maybe I can keep on doing this the whole day, really. Adjusting the values till my director is happy. Okay, but it's okay, fine. So just select it and go to the fields and solver, apply a turbulence to this. So I just don't want it to go straight up. Let me apply a turbulence. Turbulence is applied, but the attenuation is 1. My source being at 0.0, there's quite a long distance to affect it. So what will I do is rather make it equal in every 3D space for it. So maybe make it 0 here, maybe make it 0, let's check it now. So if I play it, you will see there is a bit of a movement there, looks smoky, but the problem is that as every time what is happening is just applying its force in one direction at frame 1. So what I will need here is, I will need some random turbulence there. So to have a random turbulence, what I'll do is go to the emitter to the shape attributes and change to have a random turbulence. I'll go to the turbulence field, go to its phase attribute, right click, create a new expression, drag the turbulence dot phase attribute down and type in a value of, let's say, not a value, I'm not going to type a value, I'm going to give it a function which is time, and probably that is going to happen in, let's say, in y and z axis. So I'm just going to use y and z axis stem. So Control C, Control V to paste it, and this will be Z. Great. Let's take a look what happens. There it is. This is what I wanted. Okay, I don't want the particles to be splitting like this. Probably I just need it to be a little less. So go to emitter options and change not emitter, sorry, and the particle shape options, change the lifespan. So I will make it, let's say, 3 and maybe 2.5. okay, that is 2.5. Okay, so there it is. I'm happy with the kind of simulation what I'm getting. Just let me click and you'll see the kind of emission what I'm getting here with the help of the sprite particles. And that's all for today, students. That's all for this session. We'll meet in the next session. Bye.